can you tell me?
Okay, so I was reading this article that
Is that a reverse dental floss dance?
Oh, I have tried to do the floss. I am not coordinated enough. Yeah, so the floss is something like this. It's not. So I was doing this. I can't figure that out.
We'll get somebody with dancing.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
Yeah.
The floss.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because then they switch. So your hands went the same way, but they do it, and then one hand's in back and one hand's in front. It's a great clutter clarity section.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Realtor.com posted an article, and
aren't you glad you came in?
It's much better when you're here. A hoarder expert reveals how chaotic clutter starts and if you're at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what interested me about this article. How does clutter start and how to tell if you are at risk?
Uh-huh.
So they had the host of the TV show Hoarders on, and the idea was to ask yourself these questions to find out if you have hoarder issues going on in your life.
Okay, go. Number one.
You keep things you no longer use or never will.
Yes.
Dirty things, broken things,
Yes.
unusable things.
Well, I can reuse them if I fix them.
Mm-hmm. You may be a hoarder. Okay. Now, then I'm like, okay, so maybe I have an issue. But then after those, then it just goes way off because you are a hoarder. Article is no longer you may be a hoarder if.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it should be called after number one.
Yeah.
Then you are a hoarder.
Okay.
Visitors are barred from being in certain rooms of your house.
No.
Well, if that is true, you might not be a hoarder. You are a hoarder.
Okay.
If you have rooms so filled with stuff that you can't have people in there, okay.
Besides my garage?
Your garage is perfect. You cannot eat at your table. Why can't you eat at your table?
Because there's junk all over it?
And underneath it.
Underneath it, too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Again, so this is signs that you may be a hoarder. If you can't have dinner at your table.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You can't take a shower.
Because?
Got up too late.
Because the tub and shower are filled.
Ugh.
With stuff?
The stuff. And here's one that wasn't in the article that I'm going to add that I've seen in many places. You can't sleep in your bed.
Really? That's not on the list?
That's not on the list. But I'm going to tell you from experience that hoarders don't sleep in their beds.
Where do they sleep?
On the couch, on the floor.
In the little aisle.
Yeah, in the little, wherever they can, because their beds. I've never seen somebody.
That's how they get buried alive.
With their shower filled. I have never seen that kind of hoarder. You cover all your windows so people can't see inside your house.
Okay.
Again, at this point, it's not you might be a hoarder.
Well, that you might just be a privacy person if you don't.
Well, it depends what you're using to cover them. I mean, when you're talking about stacks of magazines, I'm kind of with her on this one.
Right.
If they're nice curtains, just because you.
Although I do know one guy, he covered all his windows just to get out of his property taxes.
Huh?
Yeah, there's some loophole. He did it years ago.
What?
He covered all the windows in his house.
So how does that get out of property tax?
I don't know. It was years ago, and I don't know that it ever worked. But bottom line was, he was a hoarder anyway.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
You don't let repairmen in your house. Excuse me. You don't call repairmen. Things in your house are broken and they need to be fixed.
Uh-huh.
But you never let people in your house, so things just get worse.
You would think in all those stacks of magazines, there's got to be the how to fix that thing anyway. So
I would guess that hoarders aren't that handy for some reason.
Why?
Or maybe they are handy, but they don't have the
yeah
energy to go out and do these things.
Uh-huh.
And then it's funny because then the article takes a whole nother turn and they're not even talking about you might be, because again, at this point,
you are.
You are, right. If your house is so musty and smelly, but you don't notice it anymore. You know, if somebody comes to the door and they're like, what is that horrible smell? And you're like, I don't smell anything, because at that point.
Then you need a truckload of Febreze or something.
Right. If you smell, you might be a hoarder.
Ah, okay.
Because you can't get into your shower, you can't bathe, you can't get to your sink. If your house is overrun with mice, you might be a hoarder. Again, you are a hoarder because there's so many and you can't get to all the things. There's no way to keep it clean.
Uh-huh.
if you have takeout containers all over your house
60
Okay.
seconds.
because you can't get to the garbage, you don't take the garbage out. You don't know what's garbage and what's good. It's just constant piles of things all over the place.
We're going to fix it though.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Okay. Testing. one,
Your
two.
sleep patterns have changed. According to this article, and the expert on this article is the woman who helps everybody on the TV show Hoarders.
Okay.
According to this, people who hoard tend to stay up at night and churn through their stuff. They sleep in the daytime. That's
Okay.
news to me.
Interesting.
Self-care has become a struggle, and yes, that goes with they wear dirty or stained clothes because they can't find better ones
Excellent.
in their junk pile.
All right. We'll be back right after this.
This is Mighty House. Mighty House will return.